Chancellor Rishi Sunak has been accused of being out of touch after it was revealed that his wife, billionaire heiress Akshata Murthy, has non-dom status, which means she legally does not have to pay UK tax on the income that she earns outside of Britain. Now, with a combined worth of over £700 million, wow, the news has stung many, given, of course, yesterday's national insurance hikes. So what we're asking today, and do, email us in or tweet or whatever, can super-rich MPs ever be truly relatable? What do you think, Nadia?
Well, I'm sure some could be, but I don't think this lot, I've not heard any of them say anything that's even vaguely relatable. I actually quite like Rishi Sunak. I think he comes across as quite a straight-talking, decent person. I don't think it's his fault that he's rich or that his wife's successful, and I wouldn't have any sort of resentment towards that. But I do think it's very, very difficult when you've lived a very privileged life. I mean, I remember about 6 months ago, Dominic Raab was on LBC and said with great pomposity, I don't believe anyone in this country will be choosing between heating and eating. Now, how can you possibly say that? And how can you possibly know what it means to lose that 20 quid a week universal credit when you are, bathed in the kind of money that these people are? I am just so hungry to hear a different voice. Rees-Mogg pants the other day, again on the radio. He's so out of touch with what real life is like. Give me Angela Rayner, that's what I want.
But the problem is that the Rees-Moggs of the world and all these Etonians and boys from the public schools, they've all been groomed towards these positions, whereas, our mates and people that we know from state schools or even grammar schools, they're not really given the opportunities. And how are you meant to survive as a normal man on the street trying to become a politician when you have to wait to be re-elected? So you've got to support yourself, or you have to marry someone who can support you, with the hope that you will eventually get elected into the House of Commons, and then it's a really long journey.
It's quite a full-time job to try and get there, and you're not getting any payment to that.
So there's
We've got to change our system.
Yeah, so that's a catch-22 in itself. So we're always going to end up getting some people who don't relate to not having money at home.
And then the grief that you get there when you're in the job, of course, the spotlight that it puts onto to you and your family. I mean, the one thing I will say about Rishi Sunak, his wife comes from a very wealthy family, but, he's probably middle class, I suppose we say in this country. His dad was a GP, his mum was a pharmacist, but he was obviously a very bright boy, and he did go to private school, but, he got places because of his intellect, I think. And
but
he was a Fulbright scholar.
I mean, he is richer than the Queen.
But it's like, do you get judged on who you're married? His argument would be, my wife did not enter politics, I did. I mean, I don't know, I find it strange, this whole non-dom thing. I thought the clue was in the title, that if you're non-dom, you don't live in this country. But obviously, isn't she living at number 11 Downing Street?
How did they even meet then?
Yeah,
they met at college in America.
I think they met abroad, and the stories... I mean, this is a super elite dynasty. This family are part of a Asian... They sort of have got away without the glare of the publicity that people normally get, because they are under the radar. They're like non-celebs. They're another level above. Like I say,
because they're so rich.
They're so rich. She is richer than the Queen.
I mean, again, that's not their fault, is
exactly.
it?
Exactly.
So it's like you can't help what your background is, and I guess it's kind of.
But with the question, can they
it.
relate?
Probably not.
A lot of the people that are talking in the government, when I hear them and I listen a lot to the radio, I hear nothing that they're relating to. To be able to say people won't be choosing between heating and eating. A friend of my sister's was saying yesterday, she works in a local food bank to us, and these are people with full-time jobs that are going in because they just cannot pay the mounting bills. It's like you were saying the other day, Jane, it's not just the oil, everything is so expensive. And when you think back to that clip with Rishi Sunak when he didn't even know how to use his tap card, that is not relatable. You are not going to know what it actually... That means everything's delivered to you. That means you're never paying
I think you can have money if you've earned it or whatever, and still... So say, for example, I know she's not an MP, but if you look at J.K. Rowling, who is incredibly wealthy, but she once had nothing, and you never you never forget having nothing,
but
do you?
Do you think there's a way of helping them rather than just criticising them? Like, if they were to... I know this sounds silly, but maybe got, like, this is how much a pint of milk is this week, or, you know, this is how the prices people are dealing with are, because I don't think they do the shopping. They don't do an online shop. They haven't got a clue what 2 for 1 means at Lidl.
But then they don't help themselves, do they, by doing these silly picture opportunities and videos and whatever, of where he can even fill up his own
Which I
car,
think,
and then he can... And it just angers people.
Yeah.
It's not... Like you say, it's not his fault, that's what he comes from. It's not her fault that that's where she comes from. And they've been honest about the tax thing.
Yeah,
but it's like, it's still going to annoy people because they're like, you're telling us what to do, yet you can't even fill up your own car.
And it feels like because they've all got such a similar background, they're in an echo chamber, round and round.
Yeah, a spokesman for Akshata Murthy, she's a citizen of India. It doesn't allow citizens to hold citizenship for another country. But it says, according to British law, she's treated as a non-dom. She has always and will continue to pay UK taxes on all her UK